Hi all, this is Jasmine Jade and I'm going to show you how to edit a photo in the snow without a preset. Ashlyn Hale Photography was nice enough to give me some of her images. She lives in Canada, so they have a lot of snow and she is trained pretty well to shoot in the snow. When you shoot in the snow, you really have to watch your white balance. You also, when you're editing, you have to make sure your snow is actually white and not yellow or any other crazy color. So for this edit, I am not going to use any of my presets, but you can as well just put a preset on and just change the white balance or make some additional edits. So for this photo, I'm going to just turn up the exposure a tiny bit, and I am putting a little bit more contrast on because I like contrasty images. And then I'm lifting up the shadows just a little bit. Pulling down the highlights, but because here's the thing, I don't want to blow out the highlights like this by lifting them up, because you can tell right here this looks pretty much very unrealistic. So I'm going to turn them up down just a tiny bit so I can see a little bit of detail in the snow. Same with the whites, just a tiny bit. And I'm lifting up the blacks just a tiny bit. Then I'm going to check my white balance. I can already tell it's the white balance is shot pretty good. I just want to make sure the skin tones are good and the white is actually white. And you can see it's a little bit bluish, so I'm going to take the jobber tool and I'm going to pull it somewhere where it's a neutral tone and it's not white. Like right there, it's a little bit of grayish. I'm going to click on it and you can tell my white has changed a little bit and it's more of a little bit of a pure white, and her skin tone has changed to the positive. She looks a little bit more alive. Okay, so now we're going to go do some more edits. We're actually going to go into the tone curve and we're going to lift down the shadows in the tone curve because it has a little bit more effect when you do that in the tone curve. So we are going right here and we are pulling down the shadows just a tiny bit, and we're going right here and we're lifting up the highlights. On that side of the tone curves are the highlights, just a tiny bit. And then we are lifting the light in this photo by lifting you can see the middle of this, the midtones and everything, make it a little bit brighter without turning up the exposure. Okay, so now if you want a tiny bit more detail in her dress, you have to lift up the blacks and the shadows. Lift the blacks up just a tiny bit and the shadows just a tiny bit more. You just fine tune these sliders right here in order to get your look. You can turn on the highlights a little bit more too, and the whites a little bit more too. No, actually keep the whites. Actually, they were good the way they were. I don't want to mess with vibrance and saturation or with split toning here or with any of these colors here. Usually I play with the greens, but I like the way the greens look. So I'm just going to go into noise reduction because I want a little bit more of a creamy effect. I'm going to show you what it does to her skin. So I'm going to pull this up to 60. You have to be careful with this. If you do it too much, it will look really funny. So pull it up to 60. And then make sure you pull the contrast up to 5 or so. And then pull the color up to, so you have a little bit of noise reduction in there too. Then make sure there's no grain. I mean, if you didn't apply a preset, there's probably no grain, but any of my presets probably have grain in it, so you have to turn them down. I would not play with any of these things here either because I really like the way the photo looks right now. It might still be a little bit in the white. I want to change it without going into the tone curve now. Let's see. You can see the greens. Turning this up a little bit. And the saturation, turning the greens down all the way actually, even though they're already down. And with the blues, let's see if there are more blues here besides the dress. Yeah, so you can tell there is still blue in the snow. Yeah, so I want to turn that down just a tiny bit, but without affecting her dress and making it green. You can tell, right? So I'm just turning down the blue just a tiny bit in that snow. And then go into luminance and turn the blue up in that snow. Okay, this is how I would do it. See the difference? Just don't make it too much. And then I would go into highlights again and turn them down just a little bit more, just again, just a tiny more. And same with whites. It's all about fine tuning here. And then I'm just going to sharpen this image. I'm going all the way up almost into the red. And then I am hitting Control and Option on the Mac and sliding up the masking slider. So I see exactly what I'm sharpening. So I only want to sharpen her surroundings and maybe the trees. I do not want to sharpen her skin or the snow or anything. Okay, so we keep it like this. And this is my final edit. Let's see before and after. And of course you can achieve this quickly with a preset and then make some adjustments. Let's try, put one preset on, Embrace 20 right here. You can tell it's almost identical, now here a little bit, to my edit. You just have to tweak the blacks and the, you know what, let's do this real quick. Just have to tweak the blacks a little bit and the shadows. And then play with her skin tone a little bit. And then you have it too. And then of course the luminance and the noise reduction and the sharpening and everything else you have to do too, if you want the exact same look. All right, guys, I hope this was inspiring to you to try your own little quick edit on a snow photo. Talk to you later.